My name is Lvndscvpes. I am originally from Akron, Ohio, but I am currently holding it down in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I moved here 2 years ago, essentially to get my education. I've been rapping and doing music for 3 years, a little over 3 years.
Tell me, what do you think draws you or drew you initially to music?
To music?
Yeah.
Ooh. I've been singing since I was 3. The first artist that I remember listening to regularly was Lvndscvpes. My mom raised me on a lot of country music, a lot of ZZ Top, Michael Jackson, a lot of variety. But I specifically remember a lot of country music, and so Lvndscvpes was one of the first artists that I got really acquainted with. So I started singing her music when I was really young, and she did a lot of Patsy Cline covers, and so she actually helped introduce me into a lot of the older school type of artists, and more prominently the females in the industry. So I think that helped a lot in kind of getting my start and just kind of where I grew from there. Missy Elliott's definitely a big one. She was one of the earlier kind of people that I got into when I did start getting into hip hop. When I got into hip hop, my earlier artists, I guess, would be 50 Cent, Jay-Z, Dr. Dre. I listened to a little bit of Wu-Tang Clan, but when I was super young, I didn't get super into them. That kind of came later on, and kind of rap groups like that. I was more into the solo artists. But I think that was also partially because I'm a solo artist, and I would always want to work with other people, but whether it was a scheduling conflict or people just didn't want to work with me or whatever it was, I just didn't always get the opportunity to work with other people. So I think I listened to a lot more solo artists because I was a solo artist, or vice versa, or I became a solo artist because I was listening to a lot of solo artists. But yeah, those are kind of my earlier influences. But I think I started rapping because of Greaves. Actually, yeah, I got into him when my friend Mitch, he showed me the music video for Boogeyman when we were sophomores. We were in an art class together, and we were supposed to be doing research for a project thing, and we were just talking about music, and he showed me this music video, and I just super fell in love, and just from there I got super big into Greaves. And then that's how I got into Lvndscvpes and Prof and all that kind of shit. And I don't know, I guess that's kind of the blossoming point. That's where it kind of all sort of started. I stumbled upon IPR that actually had a Lvndscvpes Hip Hop Essentials class, and it also had a Lvndscvpes scholarship. And just knowing, already having that established connection kind of with Greaves, and just wanting to go to school, it just kind of made sense for me at the time. So I was I need to go to this school, and it's in Minneapolis. It's I did my research on the city, and I was it's a great place. There's a good music scene out there, and I feel it would just be a really good change of scenery for me, and just kind of help me put my life into perspective. And I was right. I definitely got what I wanted out of it. It was...
You got the scholarship.
Yeah, I got the scholarship, which was awesome. Because I wasn't even expecting it, but I was I have to go to this school if it offers it. So it's yeah, you got a scholarship, but you can't walk around feeling you're entitled because oh, I have my stuff paid for, you know what I mean? So you still have to work for it and still earn it. So that humbled me a lot. It was just a really good feeling.
Did you know who the other person was?
For a while I didn't, but I figured out my last quarter in my career planning class. His name's Austin Pullen. Check him out. He's an engineer. He's amazing. He does some great work, and he has one of the coolest curly mustaches ever. So shout out to Austin Pullen.
Word. Word.
Well, I started working for First Avenue almost 2 years ago. It was last June of 2016. And I worked there for about 5 or 6 months, and then I started working over at the Turf Club. And Mike Campbell, who pretty much like runs Stop House, who's like one of the main business guys over there, does a lot of like booking and hospitality work for First Avenue and different bands and stuff. So I ended up meeting him one night at the Turf when I was working security and he was working booking, and I went up to him and I was like, hey, like, my name is Sydney, like, I work at First Ave, I'm super interested in XYZ, I love prof, this, that, and the other. Do you have any internship opportunities available? Like, is there anything I can do to help Stop House?
I'm just ambitious.
Yeah, and just like seeing if there was anything that I could possibly do. And at the time, he was like, well, we've got a little bit of dead time right now, but we're planning a tour and like doing this, that, and the other. So like, send me an email and like, we'll talk. So I was like, this is awesome. Like, it was my first like real kind of business opportunity for me, and especially being in this industry. And so I was just super stoked to be able to have a conversation with him. So I would be helping with packaging, getting street team posters and promotional things out to street team members. Then I started helping with music video shoots, and I started helping, I worked the merch tent for Prof Outdoors 4 this past September, which was so much fun. The show itself was awesome. I met a lot of amazing people, and like just like the Gampo squad is amazing. Like the community that comes together like through Stop House and like through Rhyme Sayers and just through like the Twin Cities in general, like it's something that I definitely miss like back in Akron. Like it's like we have that back home, like we definitely have like a sense of community, and it's getting a lot better and a lot bigger within the last couple years, especially based on like things that have been going on in the country and with the election and civil rights and all that kind of stuff. So it's definitely been getting way better out there. But personally, I feel like the scene in the Twin Cities is just so much more eclectic and has more of a family vibe, and I love it. It's great. The music video for Why Am I Like This was so much fun. So I really got to tell the story of kind of like the two sides, like the two personalities that are being presented in the song, and it was really cool. We actually filmed it, Jared Nancy and I filmed it at IPR, and it was when they had some construction stuff going on, so we actually had to get some special permits to climb up on the scaffolding that they had like set up in the atrium. But that was super cool. I was only kind of scared just because they like wobbled a little bit. Like I knew they were sturdy, but I was just like, I'm not a construction worker. But it was really cool. So we got to experiment with different levels and just like the whole theme of construction in general. Because this past Halloween I put out a mixtape called Reconstruction, and the whole thing is basically just about like rebuilding and starting from scratch, and just kind of like finding, I don't know, finding your own like remnants of joy in the gravel of life, so to speak. I like your face on that. But yeah, I'm actually trying to continue that theme with my next project. It's going to be called New Foundations. So it's gonna still follow that same like construction kind of vibe. But with the video for Why Am I Like This, we were filming on the scaffolding, we filmed like in the bathroom and like with the mirrors, and so like we were able to do like the whole like me as a physical human like looking into the mirror, but then what my mind like sees itself as when I look into the mirror looking back at me. Like, that was really cool, and it was really awesome to just be able to show the perspectives, like the two perspectives of the different sets of lyrics for that. And it was super dark.
Could you tell me more about the track itself?
Yeah, so the track itself is a lot about like mental illness and depression and like anxiety, and like it's not anywhere near as viral as that Logic shit, which shout out to Logic, you know, that's tight. But it's just about, like, the beginning, it starts out talking about how, like, I'm stuck in this deep depression and how I feel like I can't get out of it, and how I feel as though the people that are in my life are only in my life because they want something out of me and not because they genuinely enjoy my presence. Which a lot of people, you know, like, feel like that. And which is super shitty. Like, people just can't be honest with each other. Like, I'm more than willing to, like, help out a homie and, like, help out, like, a stranger, help out a friend, whatever. But, like, you just gotta let me know. Like, don't try to, like, beat around the bush or, like, go behind my back with something. Just, like, be straight up with me. So that verse is kind of, like, all about that and how I just don't feel, like, wanted by society. And so then in the middle, right after the first hook, it kind of, like, breaks down. And so, like, the first voice is, like, crying, and then you have, like, the demonic voice kind of in the back of your head where it's like, oh, Sydney, why are you crying? And I'm just like, no one likes me, I'm being an emo kid. And so you've got that whole, like, back and forth kind of thing. And then instead of being sad, it kind of builds up from, like, being sad to being angry, and then I'm like, alright, well, fuck this demonic voice in my head, like, I'm the shit, like, I'm awesome, like, no one can bring me down. And then that's when the second verse kind of goes into, like, I ain't got a worry in the world, and, like, it builds up to, like, being this super confident kind of, like, bad bitch, like, and I even mention Logic, like, in that verse too, because I say I ain't got a worry in the world, I'm usually a worried little girl getting cracked under pressure like I'm Logic trying to balance the weight of the world. So extra shout out to Logic.
People's attention to, like, that you have coming, or yeah, with your art, or even in your life, but ideally with your art.
Well, I do have, like, one of my biggest accomplishments in my career thus far. I'm working on a song with Bobby Raps right now, so I'm working on finishing that up. So he just won a Grammy, so working with him, like, kind of instills in my mind that, like, I could win a Grammy, and that's kind of dope. I mean, I thought that anyway, but just because, you know, you gotta have confidence in yourself. Like, you can win a Grammy or any kind of award or any kind of anything, whatever success means to you, you can get that, like, on your own, like, without necessarily anybody's help. So I think that would be, like, my biggest thing that I want to tell people. But I think, like, my main message is to keep building. Like, things will always try to, like, knock you down, and, like, I know it sounds cliche, and, like, everyone always says that, like, things get better. But life is kind of like a game of Jenga, where it's, like, you're building up this tower, and every once in a while people are pulling pieces out of your tower to see how much they can take from you before you fall. And you just kind of have to learn how to keep your tower strong no matter how many pieces of you people are taking. And I think that's really important. And, like, music is a huge thing for me because it's how I get my feelings out, and it's how I can relate to people. Because I did speech and debate in high school, but at the same time I feel like I'm still really bad with words, even though, like, I've won awards for speaking. So music and, like, my lyrics are just how I get things out. But, like, at the end of the day, like, it's not necessarily about the music. It's more about, like, the message and the connection that you make with people. And just, like, keeping all the positive vibes. And if music is like the one thing that keeps those positive vibes in your life, then that's what you gotta do. And that's kind of what it does for me. Well, I do have a couple shows coming up this month. I've got one April 11th at Driftwood Char Bar. Doors are at 9 o'clock. I have a show on 4/20 at Bullwinkle's in West Bank. Doors for that one are at 9 o'clock. And then I have a show on April 21st at the Poorhouse in Uptown, and doors for that are at 6:30. Definitely shout out to Nazim and Spencer. I saw them a couple weeks ago. They're really nice guys. And shout out Demetrius Stevens, aka D-Bomb. Shout out Jay the Clone. Shout out Metasoda, St. Paul Slim. Extra shout out to Prof. Thank you for letting me be a part of 2 of your music videos now. I call him Prof Dad. Because I played his daughter in the Andre video. The official Guthrie, he's a Minneapolis rapper. I went to school with him at IPR. His name's Arlo Stafford. But he is super dope rapper. He is an amazing producer, and he just really knows what he's doing. Yeah, just anybody in the Minneapolis music scene that is doing work. And do I know Roland? He's killing it right now. He's doing so much, and he's a great guy, and I love him. So shout out to young Roland, and just everyone in the Twin Cities that's just putting in the work to be where they want to be. And like, it's just a beautiful and blossoming music community, and I feel like the music scene as a whole, like in the United States, will definitely grow because of what we're doing here in Minnesota. And I think that's fucking awesome. And I'm happy to be a part of it. I thought of like more people that I could shout out.
Oh,
there's just
for
two.
sure. Yeah,
There's
yeah,
just,
yeah.
like,
No doubt. Yeah, no, absolutely.
Two or three.
Absolutely. I sensed like a little bit of like, oh, I wanted to say something else. That's perfect. Come on.
I'll send a shout out to KPW, send a shout out to Jay Plaza, and also a huge shout out to Bobby Reps. Like, I think the session that I had with him was one of the most inspiring sessions I've ever had. So like, I think part of the reason that Lvndscvpes is gonna come up is because like Bobby Raps is part of it. So that's real. Alright, and then I'll think of like a little couple thing. Well, this is Lvndscvpes, painting portraits for Staring at the City. It was awesome to be here talking to you guys today. See you next time.
No longer stop to you.
Yeah, I've been working so hard lately and they just don't see, cause they only want me to live the life they planned out for me. See, I was stuck in this small city full of pipe dreams. We weren't out there making it, we were only pulling hype schemes. So I decided I had to get out of the city. Then a monster stole the precious girl who was gonna come with me. I lost my mind, fell in a hole and I hid where the monster won't find me, till I came to my senses and realized that against him I had to keep fighting. So I made a plan to move to school and I worked every day. I saved $2,000 in 4 months at Chipotle. On probation, couldn't legally find a place to stay. Shout out to Nish for letting me crash in the couch for 4 months straight. And shout out to the people back home who never really thought I would make it. Just know it's been 3 years and I'm out here living real life when you're stuck at home trying to fake it. Just know it's been 3 years, you're stuck in the square. I'm in Minnesota trying to make the A-list. I remember when you wouldn't lend an ear back in the day, and now you're trying to put me in the playlist. I'm like, okay, I see you, trying to look me up cause you couldn't stay in the loop. I do not have to jump through any hoops to get me needless approval from you. 4 years ago when I got into trouble, they ran away screaming, don't save her. But now that I'm shining, they calling on me, but I'm screaming back at them, no favors. Thought I saw you on the zero, they now shows cause you cannot pick up a phone. Don't think I don't know, as soon as I dropped you with Bobby Raps, now you can't leave me alone. I see you flooding my email with beats from 6 years ago that you wanna re-record. But when I hit you with the same shit when I started school, I was just straight up ignored. I'ma run from the shepherd, you can stay here with the herd. A wise woman told me a plan without action is just a collection of words. I had no help, did it by myself, don't tell me it takes two to tango. Yeah, I'm breaking out of these chains, I'm feeling free like Django. No longer stuck to you in chains. No longer stuck to you.
And that's how it goes.